Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Builders Coach Show. I'm very, very excited about this episode as we are live today at the Sydney Build Expo. We've got a live audience, which is awesome. Welcome, everyone. And I'm really excited because we're going to unpack something that's really going to change the industry, Kurt.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to be talking about ECI and value management, and you're spot on. Like, it's going to absolutely transform the industry. So, if we've got any builders here, designers, architects, and if you are sick and tired of the old school tender process, you're going to want to hear this.
But before we start, some of you might not know us. So I'm Jess Norton. I'm a business coach and I'm the co-host of the Builders Coach Show. It's our weekly podcast where we discuss real strategies for builders who just want to get on top of things and in control of their business.
Absolutely. And I'm Kurt Haggertrial, the founder of Builders Coach. And our vision is to raise industry standards through business re-education for builders in all areas of business, including leadership. Like, mindset's an important part, and who you become in the process of business development is the real reward. So the more builders we can get onto that path of self-actualization, the better.
So let's kick off. Kurt, my first question to you is, what is the biggest challenge that you see with your builders out there currently?
Okay, let's get straight into it. So price shock. Price shock's a real thing. Like, I've been speaking to builders for 20 years. We've always seen price shock, but never like this before, right? There's been a massive surge in build costs, labor, materials off the back of the pandemic. And we're talking to builders like in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the US, the UK, and it's everywhere. Right, so to give you an idea, like Australia, about 53% increase in build costs in a 3-year period. So if you had $1 million, probably 3.5, 4 years ago, you'd need 1.5 million today to do the same renovation or whatever build you wanted to do. So big problem. And what it needs is builder involvement earlier on in the pre-construction phase, which we'll get into in a sec.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why this early contractor involvement is so important, right? So could you tell us exactly, like in plain language, what is this ECI?
Okay, so conventional thinking or wisdom is, you design, then you construct. So people get their design work done, but unfortunately, once they choose a builder and the quotes come in, they either, there's such a misalignment between their budgets and what the quote is, they either have to abandon the project or redesign at significant expense, right, with dollar and time. So it's more about having a budget-led design. And again, having a builder involved early on and really leading a collaboration with the client, the architect, the designer, and a quality estimator to align budgets with what people eventually spend.
So for anyone in the audience today, but also our listeners, we have a free guide that people can download. There'll be a QR code on your seat, and we'll put it also in our show notes today. But we've put together a guide to explain what is ECI and then what is this value management process and who benefits from it, basically. But maybe you can start explaining to us, what is this process? What are the first steps? And is it difficult?
Yeah, well, no, it's not. It's not difficult, and it's almost embarrassing talking about it, right? Because are there any builders here listening? Anyway, okay, you guys already do this, right? You value manage, and the thing is, only you as a builder understand build process, labor costs, materials, so that you can get people's budgets to align with what they spend. Like, the architect can't do that, the designer can't, a quantity surveyor can't do that. So really, it's it's a builder that needs to get involved early, and we'll go through the actual structure, the processes, and that's in that document that you explained. But the best analogy that I can think of, right, is in your luggage, the wheels on our luggage. Like, aviation went mainstream in the 50s, but those wheels only went mainstream in 1987. All right, so there were people, maybe older guys can remember your parents lugging, luggage around and slipping discs in their back. It's a bit like that, man. Like, people are getting designs done, then getting quotes, and again, having to either abandon or redesign at ridiculous expense. So, this process just eliminates that completely, and it benefits all parties, right? It's rare that you get a situation or process where everyone benefits. The builder benefits exponentially because it becomes a one builder tender process. The architect benefits because, I don't know, Architects, yeah, architects and designers, yeah. How much time do you spend going through that tender process, going to meetings, looking at plans? If you've got a builder that you can trust, that you can collaborate with to get the numbers right, what's that going to save you in 12 months? And then the client, well, it's obvious they don't become a statistic, right?
And I think you were telling me about this story about one of your builders explaining this process to his client and really them latching onto it and being really keen to go ahead with it. Can you maybe tell us the story?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm speaking to builders every week, right? 20 to 30 of them, and like it's unbelievable the price shock scenarios that I'm hearing. It's absolutely absurd. I'll give you some examples. So, $500,000 budget quote comes in at 1.4 million. Okay, and I thought that was the worst that I'd heard until there was one here where someone had a budget of 2 mil. They went to an architect and spent about $100,000, 12 to 18 months getting the design done, all the hard documentation. They then went to a quantity surveyor, because most people mistakenly believe the quantity surveyor is going to be, their bill of quantities means that's going to be accurate, but it's often not. That came in at 1.7. Then the builder got engaged. He called me. He was shitting himself. He was like, Kurt, I've got to go meet with this guy and break the news to him that it's more like a $7 million build. Like, and he showed me the plans. It was bordering on malpractice because, I don't want to have a go at architects, but they're not going to refund the money. There's no repercussions or backlash besides maybe severe emotional backlash from the client. So, that's the worst example I've heard. And that was about 5-6 months ago. But every single week I'm hearing stories like this, and it's absurd. It's crazy. So,
and any clients who've been in that situation before would obviously, like, if a builder would suggest a value management process, they would lash onto it, right? They'll be like, well, yes, the certainty of such a process is so valuable to them.
Absolutely. So I'm one of those people, right? So I've had a lot of different properties and done like renovations and work. And there was a job I did on one of my properties on the North Shore here in Sydney, in St. Ives. And I was told it was going to cost $250,000. Now, I thought that was a lot because it's pool and landscaping, right? So I thought, no, it's not going to, surely not $250,000. They said it would take 3 months. It cost $500,000 and took 12 months. Okay, so like if the next renovation or build that I do, it's only going to be value management, right? I'm going to choose my builder first. So what people need to understand is that instead of getting the design work done and then going through that due diligence phase of selecting the right builder, is select your builder first and then again work through a collaboration with them and the right designer or architect and a quality estimator to get the numbers right. It's so important, yeah. So I'll give you another example. I spoke to a guy yesterday, right? So hot off the press. He's got a woman, high net worth here in Sydney. She's got a heritage home. She wants to spend $2 million. So we'll get into the 3-step process for value management. But step one is like a quick building estimate, right? So this guy's got a process where within 24 hours, he can do an estimate. It's not square meter rate. It uses other variables, but it's 80 to 90% accurate. So it gives them a ballpark figure just so they can get a feel. So he did that. It came in at about 2.5 million. And the woman was like, nah, I'm not keen. I don't want to spend that much. I want to stick within the 2 mil. So he sent her a value management explanation. He said, so look, we've got a process to help align your budget with what you eventually spend. I'll send you some information. Have a look at it. He did that. She got back in touch. She said, where do I sign? She then went on to explain that on a previous build, she got involved with an architect who took her through a tender process. And in her words, it was a nightmare, okay, an effing nightmare. So she lunged at this value management process solution, which is what it is. It's a solution. And her decision was born out of the pain that she experienced previously, just like me. I'm not going to go out to tender. Most quotes aren't worth the paper they're written on. If you're getting a free quote, you got an 80% chance it's not accurate at all. So this ensures accuracy, and that's what people are paying for. That's what I would pay for. I'm paying for certainty. Okay, and the key thing here with builders, any builders, yeah? Couple, all right? Most builders mistakenly think that their margin's too high. They try to drop their margin. You don't need to, right? Like the data shows. So with value management, and by the way, it's been spearheaded here in Australia, New Zealand, and then parts of the UK, and there's enough builders doing it now. The data shows that build costs come down just because of the meticulous planning and decision making that happens during the pre-construction phase, the costs come down 7 to 9%, build costs. Delivery times improve 10 to 15%. Now, as a builder, you don't have to pass all that on, but it gives you a license to increase your margin. So we've got guys with much higher margins. Again, the client's getting certainty. They're not becoming a statistic, and the architects are benefiting by eliminating emotional backlash. They have people crying in their office, right? When budgets come in after 12 months of designing their dream home, but they can't proceed. So hence it's going to change the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's break down the process. You already spoke about step 1. Do you want to go through the different steps of that value management process?
Absolutely. Let me just grab a swig of water here. So yes, step 1 is a quick building estimate. And when I use the word estimator, anyone listening is going to get, like, some builders have probably tried estimators, they got something wrong, they left something out. And that's a big issue. You've got to seek out quality people. Like, we live in a world of mediocrity, right? Most people are average at best. So you've got to take the time to seek out quality people. So the best way to test an estimator is to give them a quote that you've already done and see what comes back. Same as if there's a system, like this guy was using a system where he just feeds in different variables and gets a number back. Just do that with a quote that you've already done and then gauge the accuracy. So step 1 is that quick building estimate. When that number comes back, that's a trigger for value management. So it's unlikely, but maybe it's going to land in line with what they want to spend, and that's fine. Then you proceed to doing a full-blown quote and doing the hard documentation. But if it's outside of what they want to spend, but within reach, that is when you then say, well, we now have this process which can help get you to get your budget in line, and we can do a budget-led design basically. So that is like a preliminary agreement. Builders would recognize it as a preliminary agreement, and you can charge anything from $5,000 to $12,000 for your time. You want to package up a number of meetings. We have guys doing those meetings on Zoom, maybe 3 Zoom meetings, and it starts with, if you've got someone at the concept stage, so early stage in the design process, concept or SketchUp, the builder looks at the footprint of the job, right? So how many rooms? Straight away, again, looking through that builder's lens, he'll be able to establish if there's too much there. You go, okay, we're going to lose a room, get rid of the gym. Maybe you can bring a wall in. One of our Melbourne builders, with his architect, they brought the wall in on a residential build by 0.5 meter, and it reduced the price by $150,000. So you can do, lots of the different things like that through the entire value management process. But step 1 is footprint. Step 2 is the architectural elements. So, floors, windows, door systems. And then step 3 is the finish, and looking at the selections and then going through that all the while getting real-time feedback on costs.
I just want to open the maybe questions to the floor. Is there anything here, any comments, like anyone wants to share the experience or question? Yes, up here. Wait, we'll just bring you a
Got a mic for you there, so.
Got quite a loud voice. I'm Scottish anyway. Now, how would you address ECI for larger commercial clients who are worried about loss of competitive bidding in the normal tender process?
So that's a good question. So worried about not being competitive with the tender.
Yeah, just worried about getting into bed with one contractor and then them hiking up the costs when, that's the fear that clients have, saying, oh, well, I'm only going to be working with one contractor.
Yeah.
Where does that, do I lose the competitive bidding edge or benefit?
Yeah, so that would mean, like, if the client's shopping on price, it's a low quality client. So as a builder's coach, I'll get my builders to seek out people that are not price shopping. Price is, I think, 13th on the list of importance when someone makes a buying decision for anything. Think about when you buy food, clothes, a car. When do you ever look for the cheapest thing possible? You don't. You want it to match. But in this industry, unfortunately, there's a major problem with accurate quotes and getting the numbers right. And it's never been as bad as it is now all over the globe. So if you're looking to build, your number one concern should be that you don't get told it's going to cost $1 million and then you find out it costs 1.5 or 2 during the build once they've dug a big hole. So that's the real problem. Like if you know you want to spend $1 million and that can align your what you pay aligns with that budget and you get the design you want, then I mean that's what you'll be paying for. That's the benefit. From the other perspective, like it's got to be a one builder tender process. Yeah. So
I think it's about education also, right? You really need to educate the client in terms of what value you're adding through this process, right? And yeah, if they're shopping on price, then I mean that's
the
probably
value is you don't get the numbers wrong. That's it. Pure and simple. Or you can go out there and throw the dice and have a crack at and see what happens. Are there any builders, yeah? Estimators? Yeah. You got a question? I've got a question for you. How difficult is it to do an accurate quote?
I'm a professional quantity surveying, so
Okay.
this is what day to day what we do basically.
Yeah.
It's again, it depends on the data that you got. If you're the early stage of design, you know you got really little amount of information. As the design progresses, your estimate become more accurate. But as you mentioned, the first estimate is the most probably important one. This is what the client always remember. And this is the way we do all the time. We follow the process all the way. We do preliminary estimate, develop design estimate, and all the way through we inform the client where we are. So
Yeah.
if you run away with the cost during the design, you can stop and say, okay, let's do a bit more value engineering. Let's cut, the flooring or change the finishes and bring it back into the client budget. But I just wonder in Australia, who is doing those things in Australia? If you're a builder or a client, who would you go to get the accuracy of the cost?
Great question. So who do you go to get an accurate quote, right? So like if you were looking to select a builder to build your house or to do a renovation, you ask them, this is part of that due diligence process, which the other gentleman's question, you've got to do the due diligence, right? Before you work with someone, find out, is this builder credible? And speak to previous clients and ask them, so what were you told you were going to pay? Before, if someone came to me with that pool landscaping job, 250, I paid 500. It didn't take 3 months, it took 12. This is where I don't give a shit what the builder's margin is, right? If it's a 40% margin, I want to know that I'm getting the pool and the landscaping that I want done for the money that I want to spend. I don't want to find out it's $500,000. And people hear that and they go, whatever. When it's you that it happens to, it's a different story. So I can tell you now, I'm hearing this every single week with people getting burnt. And some of it's like, it's 2 million plays 7. That's just, again, borderline malpractice. There should be some sort of repercussion there because it's ridiculous, right? So you've got to do your due diligence. Don't wait until you do the design, then go through, speak to 10 builders, narrow it down to 5, get 3 quotes. Don't do that. Do it up front. Spend the time and energy because it's going to save you a lot of pain.
But wouldn't in Australia you got the AIQS, the Institution of Quantity Surveying. Wouldn't you go to professional quantity surveying to give you independent estimate of what the builder should cost?
Look, I've been coaching builders in this country and across the globe for 20 years, right? There are 3 estimators that I point my builders to in Australia. There's only 3 that I know can do an accurate quote. There's a great book. I'm pretty sure it's called How Big Things Get Done. And it talks about all the major projects around the world, including the Sydney Opera House, which was 14,000% over budget, whatever else. And now it's a global heritage site. So it worked out okay. But in that book, it says there's never been an accurate quote done ever. All right. And like Jess said, people need to be educated. People need to understand that that's the reality. And there's a process for ensuring that yours is accurate. And that's what this is. I believe every builder is going to use the value management process in the future. Every single builder. So every builder should, one, specialize, have a niche, whether it's passive house, high performance homes, Hampton style homes, certain genre of home, and then offer a value management process and have good education-based marketing that educates people on why they're the best choice and demonstrate that they've got a portfolio of jobs and clients where they've got the numbers right. That you've got to do the work. Yeah. Any other questions?
Oh, here we go.
Hi everyone. So just like our mate, mentioned that if we go through the ECI route, we lose some competitiveness related to cost. But then you highlighted that by giving some extra cost, you are getting the other benefits of getting more certainty around the delivery quality. And then you highlighted schedule is generally 10 to 15% less. So we save some time on projects. That's what you feel in this process. But being a professional scheduler, what I've observed is that on major projects, when we have a ECI contractor, they know that they are already involved from the design stage. And as the design develops, the final GMP stage program that they submit is what we believe to be at least 10 to 20% longer than what you would have got if you would have gone to the market at that stage for a competitive tender for construction. Because they know that they are already associated with the project, the developer has invested with them a lot, they have the IP, and at that stage, if the developer decides to go external, they will lose 3 months more to tender it again.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you. So are you guys involved in big commercial projects?
Big projects.
Yeah. So that's outside of my sphere of expertise, right? I work with residential builders,
Yeah, okay.
2 to 10 mil turnover generally, some as high as 20.
I was talking about 500 mil plus and then billion
Yeah,
ones.
no,
Because
that's a whole different ball game because there is a correlation between volume of work and turnover and margin. So we work on like a 25% margin for builders, but I know if you're doing 100 mil plus, your margins would be 8%. 8% would be a great margin, right? Gross margin.
Right.
So it's a whole different ball game.
So what happens there is that when the timeline exceeds, the cost of the prelims of the indirect cost of the contractor is so high, the extra cost over the life cycle of the project ends to be millions. That's the reason a lot of our clients are trying to stay away from the ECI model. They only prefer that when they're not actually sure what they need in design.
So did they use, again, this is obviously outside of what I do, but are you saying they use an ECI contractor during the build?
No, ECI is required during the design.
Yeah.
But then they are only preferring that if they're not sure, like in hospitals, they don't have the expertise of checking the buildability. They are only concerned about what are the medical facilities they need. And the specialization of the contractor comes in to give them good solutions of how they can optimize it.
Yeah. So I think it comes back to finding quality people, right? You've got to find someone with a decent track record. Find the people in the top 3%, whether it's an accountant, bookkeeper, marketing strategist.
Yeah, exactly. So if
Maybe
they have consultants like us who can give this advice to the client, then they don't need the contractors at ECI stage, because anyway, the designs are being done by architects and structural engineers anyway, which we can also hire directly.
Fantastic. Thanks, man. Did another one?
Hi, Kurt. I have a question that don't you think the owners comes to builders as well who undercut their fellow builder friends in terms of delivering the quality project and the cost where the cost escalates?
So you talking so guys competing on price?
Absolutely right. Yes.
Sadly, that's one of the biggest negative outcomes of these price escalations
100%, yes.
is the race to the bottom, right? You guys familiar with that term, the race to the bottom? And there's more bankruptcies and insolvencies in this industry than any other, right? Well, there was for a while, right? We're always right up there, which is really sad. So
I mean, to some extent, I actually blame the builders themselves rather than the client, because client is a blank of the cost. I mean, they have a fair idea that this is what the house is going to cost us, but the builders undercutting other builders have actually created this hole in the market. And that,
and look, in the defense of the builders, no one teaches them about the financials, right? Where do they get the information? They get it in the pub, speaking to some older builder who's 20% markup, which is a 16 margin, then a couple of mistakes and they're underwater. So it's important. Like every builder has a duty of care to be financially sound, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah. So
is that part of your coaching as well to the builders, that how they should be, costing the job?
Yes, and that's what I love about this process. What Jess was saying before, it benefits all parties. So it's a game changer for an architect, for the client, of course. Like I wouldn't do it any other way. But we've got builders now with margins as high as 35%. And again, I do not give a shit. Like think about it. I got told 250. I paid $500,000. Do I care that the guy's making decent money on my job, but I'm paying the 250? No, like I'd rather pay for the certainty, and I want him to be financially sound and stacking cash.
No, that's good. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, otherwise there's consequences on the builder, but on the client also, right?
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you're a builder, if you go under, say you go bankrupt today, it's obviously going to be uncomfortable, right? Maybe just a little bit, but you can find a job tomorrow making 300 grand a year like that, right? There's a shortage of builders in this country and around the world. So you will not struggle putting Fruit Loops on the table for your family as a builder, right? It's not going to be an issue. But like think of the client where they're doing a renovation and then they renting somewhere. We know people are paying 10 grand a month for an Airbnb while a reno was being done that was taking much longer than expected. Now, say the builder goes under, the client's stuck, the insurance pays out 20%, and no other builder wants to touch the project. That's a far worse scenario.
For the clients, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why clients would benefit massively from this.
Any other questions?
I think we'll keep
we-
moving.
Yes. So, Kurt, we spoke about the benefits, and really, I just want to emphasize that, yeah, it's a really win-win-win solution. We spoke about how it's really good for the builder, obviously, for the client, massive advantages for them too, and then also for the architects, right? So there's really a need for collaboration there. But in terms of this process, I think it's important to also talk about leadership, right? Because being able to get your client through this ECI process, this value management process, really takes collaboration with your pre-construction team. It takes good communication, decision making, etc. Right?
Absolutely. Look, if you ask me to sum up sales in a word, it would be leadership, right? So builders and anyone listening to the recording or here, you need to stand up, recognize your value as a builder, because no one else can align the cost the way you do. No one understands build process, materials, and labor costs like you do as a builder, right? So the builder needs to lead the collaboration. Too many builders wait for the client to tell them what they want. I was speaking to a guy this morning, and he was asking the client, like, do you want to do this or that? And I said to him, you and I both know he needs to do that first. So you need to tell him, hey, here's what I'm recommending. Just like a doctor prescribes a solution or medication for a client, the builder needs to recognize they have value. They understand more about building than their client who might be a brain surgeon, right? So they need to, based on that, take their client through a process that is engineered to give them the best possible result, to give their client the best possible result. And then they can do that with confidence and also love in their heart, knowing they're taking care of the client, right?
Yeah, and that's the client. The clients wants that also, right? To be able to be guided through a process, feel confident about the outcome, know that they're going to stay on budget, and happy client obviously means referrals, etc., right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So talking about leadership, I did want to mention women in the construction industry is really something that is actually, I've got the numbers. I was thinking women in apprenticeship are doubling over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts around that, about women in a really male-dominated industry?
Absolutely. I'm a big believer and backer in us getting more women into the industry. I've got 4 girls myself, and I think it's great to see more women coming in. And yeah, it's just like I think it's still a struggle for them to be accepted, but it's good that they're coming in. We need more.
Well, I don't know. You tell me, is it a struggle for men to take directions from women?
I think yes, but for the most part, like, hey, I still know guys, right? Like if they hear that there's a female pilot flying the plane, they get sweaty palms. So it makes them nervous. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like how many women would, the average guy follow into battle? Margaret Thatcher, who had titanium balls. Like you need, yeah, men and women are different, but women do bring a set of skills that most guys don't have, which is really beneficial.
Fun fact for you. So women are actually, it's been studied, are actually better CEOs than men because so they've got better leadership. They've got amazing communication. which is obviously like one of the hallmark of leadership. And also they're really good at managing team, managing people, more empathetic, etc. So they're actually coming on top as really, really good CEOs for companies.
Absolutely. There's a guy on Shark Tank. Apparently he's got 20 businesses. You know that show Shark Tank where the people go up and pitch? He's got 20 businesses. 19 are led by women. 19 of them. So there's great women out there. A lot of our most successful clients are husband and wife teams, and the women are doing a lot of the back end work, and some are even leading from the front. We've worked with female builders. One used to be a doctor. Another took over, second generation business, and she's phenomenal. Like in terms of leadership, like being a visionary and also building a team with loyalty and strong values. No, they're really good at doing that. Yeah, I mean, women are better at networking, right? Generally than guys. We like to just hunt and get shit done.
Awesome. Look, I mentioned it because I wanted to introduce the launch of our new program, which is really exciting. It's Builder's Coach for Her. So this is specifically for women in the construction industry. So if you are a woman who is an owner, a co-owner, or if you're the woman that's behind the scene doing all the operations, this program is for you. It's all the Builder's Coach systems, tools with an add-on of leadership specifically targeted for women and help them thrive in this male-dominated industry.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you're going to be leading the charge with that, Jess.
That's right.
And there's a lot of data to show that women's involvement in business does lend itself to, better bottom line results, more profitability, better team culture. One of our most successful builders, they used female project managers that were amazing at proactively communicating with clients, plus getting things done. And they have like off-site, interior designers that help with selections. Any builder listening, if you can get selections done pre-construction, that's huge. So again, a big advocate for women in building. Yeah.
Awesome. No, I'm really excited about that. Do we have any questions? Otherwise, we're going to close it off.
Couple of questions there.
Oh, here.
I just want to point out the first qualified lady builder in New South Wales is just walking away, and she's my wife. And it's great to say, honey, the door's broke, go fix it.
I love it.
Yeah, you mentioned about women leading. I just wonder, where's your boss at home?
That's me.
He thinks he is.
Different areas, right? We have different strengths.
Yeah, we both have our skills.
But interesting, we're talking about off air about successful woman. I don't know if you guys have seen that woman on our $20 note here in Australia. Have you guys seen the face of that lady? Look at a $20 bill. Her name's Mary Ryby. Mary Ryby. Google her. Like, unbelievable story, right? She was a convict, came out here when she was 13. What did she steal, a horse or something?
Yeah, something.
And she came out here. She ended up getting out of the whatever convict thing she was in. She married a guy who owned a fleet of boats. They had like wooden boats back then. He went out on a voyage, died. She took over his business. Long story short, she absolutely dominated here in Sydney, and she started a bank that is now known as Westpac Bank, one of the big four banks in Australia. So,
so there you go.
If that doesn't tell you what women are capable of, I don't know what.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we're going to close it off here. Guys, thank you so much for listening in. Reminder of a couple of things. So grab your ECI guide. You can download it with the QR code, and we'll put it in the show notes for everyone listening from home. If you're interested in the Builder's Coach for Her, just book in a free strategy call, and we can see if this is something good for you. And then last but not least, if you want more content, just subscribe to our podcast, The Builder's Coach Show, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's it.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Kurt. That was awesome.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks.